Today we are going to be discussing Ivan Pavlov and an experiment he did with dogs. Yes. So Ivan Pavlov was a behavioral psychologist, which means that he wanted to study and analyze observable behavior, so things that he could see. He is credited with discovering classical conditioning, which is learning through association. Many of you have probably already heard of Pavlov's dogs, so this is just going to be a refresher, but some key vocabulary terms that we are going to talk about momentarily are unconditioned stimulus, which produces a natural response or reaction. Unconditioned response is the reaction to an unconditioned stimulus. Neutral stimulus is a stimulus that does not naturally provoke a response. Conditioned stimulus makes something react because it is associated with something else. And conditioned response, which is the learned response to a previously neutral stimulus. Also, a stimulus is something which causes a response. Originally, this started off with Pavlov researching salivation in dogs in response to food, and like you would assume, they would start to salivate when they had food placed in front of them. And he found that eventually the dogs also started to salivate when they saw him because they associated him with bringing them the food. Later, Pavlov actually introduced a bell to the experiment. So when he brought the dogs food, he would ring the bell, and he found that the dogs learned to associate the bell with the food, so they would increase in salivation when they heard the bell because they knew that that meant there was going to be food coming. In Pavlov's experiment, the food was the unconditioned stimulus because it produced the natural reaction of drooling in the dogs. That would make the drooling the unconditioned response. At first, the neutral stimulus in this experiment was the bell. A neutral stimulus is something that does not naturally cause a reaction, and to the dogs, the bell meant nothing. As the experiment progressed, these dogs learned to associate the bell with the arrival of food, which is when the bell became the conditioned stimulus. The bell caused the dogs to respond by drooling because they had been conditioned to put the bell and the food together. Which means that the dogs drooling to the sound of the bell is the conditioned response because previously the sound of the bell meant nothing to the dogs. Now they partner the bell with the arrival of the food. This experiment allowed Pavlov to make a very important scientific discovery.